I'm a New Englander. I'm from Massachusetts, and I went to school in New England and eventually came to the Pittsburgh area because I was elected to the pulpit at Temple David in Monroeville, where I became the first rabbi of that congregation. And I stayed there for 35 years. And during the course of the time that I was there, around 1968, St. Vincent was one of the first schools, really maybe, I don't know whether it was the first Catholic college, but it was close to being the first, to ask a rabbi to come and teach on campus. Father Campion was the one who was, at that time, the head of the religious studies department, and that's how I ended up teaching at St. Vincent. And I've been teaching since 1968 here.
You teach a class about the Holocaust, and every year we hear from students who say that this was one of their favorite classes that they took while they were here at St. Vincent. Mm-hmm. What is unique about this class, and why do you think students get so much out of it?
Well, I can only guess. I would guess that what perhaps engages students particularly is that the Holocaust involves so much, and it probably is the most dramatic example of having to confront evil straight on. Every institution of society was involved in one fashion or another with the Holocaust. And so it raises ultimate questions about the importance of morality in life, the importance of God in life. So that's my guess as to why students become so engaged with that course.
Being that you are a rabbi, what would you say to someone who thought that by taking your Holocaust class that they might only be getting one perspective or one side of what happened?
Yeah, that's a very good question. One of the things that mitigates against that is that the textbook that we use is co-authored by a Jewish person and a Christian person. And I think that generally speaking, it's my impression that the text is very balanced. So I hope that the fact that the text is a joint effort encourages me also to be as objective as possible in approaching the question.
Well, talking about this joint perspective between Judaism and Catholicism, a few years ago you taught a class along with Father Campion. I believe it was called the Jewish-Catholic Dialogue.
Correct.
And how did that experience go, and what was that like for you and Father Campion?
Well, actually the title of the course I think was Catholic-Jewish Dialogue, okay. Just the reverse of what you're saying. But since you were in that class, you had some first-hand experience. Generally speaking, we both found it to be very exhilarating. First of all, we enjoy rather constant dialogue with one another because we have lunch with each other whenever I'm here, which is on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So we've been dialoguing over the years, and then to be able to carry it into the classroom and to interact with students, it was just a great experience. It was a kind of a once in a lifetime in the sense that both of us decided that it wouldn't be something that you could repeat. And so it was sort of unique on many different levels. And fortunately, we had a wonderful group of students.
And for my last question, if you could go back in time to when you were teaching your first class here at St. Vincent College, what would you tell yourself about the years to come with your involvement working here and just being part of this St. Vincent community?
What would I tell myself? That's a tough question because that's not the way generally I tend to think. But I can tell you that what has evolved over that time has been quite surprising because not only have I ended up teaching for such a long period of time here at the college, but I also ended up teaching in the seminary, which I continue to do. And more particularly, the course that I teach in the seminary is pastoral counseling. I was a psychologist as well as a rabbi, and the seminary has entrusted me with teaching that course to seminarians. And so that was an extraordinary surprise to me, and I've done that for about 12 years. So surprises have occurred, but I can't think in terms of, well, what would I have projected?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I appreciate it, Rabbi.
It's my pleasure.